What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with Dark Outpost, and after Metacritic decided to change the way it does reviews due to the backlash for The Last of Us Part 2, the wait is finally over. We know the Metacritic user score for Ghost of Tsushima, and it is really good news for Sucker Punch, and it's really good news for fans because it just shows that we all actually got a great game in Ghost of Tsushima. Let's take a look at it right here. It did get an 83 critic review, which again, I think is pretty darn low, but look at the user score. People love this game. People love the game. That doesn't mean there's not a couple bad scores, and we're actually going to take a look at some of those today. Take a look at some of the bad scores. We might have some review bombing going on. I don't know if anyone's written any articles about this. I don't think so, but we will talk about that. When you put 9.1 in perspective, think about God of War. Now, God of War got a 94, and that user score was a 9.1. So you're talking about something that's how people feel about it. They feel like it's on par with God of War. And then even better than Spider-Man PS4. And I would say Spider-Man PS4 is a hell of a game. I love that game. And it gets an 8.7. An 87 on Metacritic. Maybe a little low there as well. What about The Last of Us Part 2? Oh yeah, that's right, a 5.5 because it is polarizing, because so many people absolutely hate this game. This is not a game that is beloved. This is a game that is beloved. And like I said, we will talk about a little bit of that review bombing. But Metacritic changed the way that it did reviews. Now, some people are just noticing this now. If you take a look here, after The Last of Us 2 review bombing scandal, Metacritic paused Ghost of Tsushima verdicts. And this is the screen that we saw and that I showed you guys in my video yesterday before this came out. Please spend some time playing the game. Come back to review it starting at 12 p.m. PST on July 18th. Right? That is what you saw. And a lot of people thought it was just for Ghost of Tsushima that all of a sudden it changed, but that's not true. Some of those people haven't been paying attention. This is actually a video that I did for Geeks and Gamers. I do videos over there every once in a while. Make sure you go check out Geeks and Gamers. But this was actually a Reset Era thread. I know, awful that I had to actually go on Reset Era for something. But this was the first time that it was noticed. Now, this is back, I think it happened July 7th is when people noticed this, maybe July 8th. But this was Superluminal. Superluminal, a game that had been out, but had just got released for PlayStation 4. Yeah, it had been out on PC, but it just got released for PlayStation 4. You can see, please spend some time playing the game. Come back to review it starting at 12 p.m. PST on July 9th. And then after that happened, you were able to allow reviews. So this was the first instance of this happening. This was almost 10 days ago. Some people are just noticing now, but I did cover this already. I did cover it over on Geeks and Gamers, so maybe that's why some people were still trying to let me know what was going on. But I'm well aware of the stuff that they're pulling. But what I did want to talk about is this whole aspect of review bombing for Ghost of Tsushima, because we know what happened for The Last of Us. Gamers are now review bombing The Last of Us 2. The Last of Us 2 has been review bombed on Metacritic. That was the over and over and over again. And the only thing they were addressing were the negative reviews. But shockingly, I found some reviews that I think are a little bit skeptical, guys. I don't know. Let's take a look. That Dave guy, well, let's just actually go through the user reviews so I can show you guys. We've got 3,200 reviews right now, 179 negative, 91 mixed, 3,000 positive reviews. People love this game, but not everybody. You see, that Dave guy gave a Ghost of Tsushima a 0. Generic open world where you take over generic bases, search for collectibles. Nothing remarkable, and frankly does not even compare to The Last of Us 2. Gave The Last of Us 2 a 10. Not a shocker to anyone. What about this person? A Saga. Last of Us 2 gets a 0. This game is a mix between Assassin's Creed, Breath for a While, and Shadow of Mordor. A big downgrade. OMG, they lied to us. The quests suck. There's nothing to do in this open world. But gave The Last of Us Part 2 a 10. Okay. Maybe there's just a couple of that. Joel is the GOAT. Joel is the GOAT. Ghost of Tsushima a 0. Don't like female SJW game. How can SJW Punch do this? Redo Ghost of Tsushima. Obviously a complete troll, right? Gave The Last of Us Part 2 a 10. Because there's nothing like that in this game. Ghost of Tsushima is a fun game with no agenda. Nothing like that in it. The combat is incredible. It makes you want to keep playing more. The combat is challenging, but it's not exhausting, if that makes sense. It's not so hard that it makes you want to quit, but it is challenging and very much rewarding when you win a fight. So that's awesome. That's why so many people love this game. Barker, Last of Us Part 2, 10. Ghost of Tsushima, a 0. Hated it. It's visually very good, but everything else had to be bored out of my mind. The combat gets boring and repetitive very quickly. We'll never play again. 10 for The Last of Us 2. Palipoju 69. Ghost of Tsushima, 0. This game's nothing compared to The Last of Us 2. The Last of Us 2 gets a 10. What about this one? Sticky Blade. Game looks great, but adds nothing new. Repetitive side quests makes the world feel void after a while. Overall, boring story. High disappointed. Gave a 1 to Sekiro a day before that. And gave a 10 to The Last of Us Part 2. And again, for all of these people, these are the only games. Well, this guy reviewed Death Stranding, so at least this is an actual person. But everyone else, right, they're only reviewing these 2 games. And The Last of Us Remastered that he reviewed on the same day. Probably to make it seem like this wasn't just a spam review. Same with this guy. Sticks, 3 games, including one the same or the day before. What about this guy? Austin 268. Ghost of Tsushima, a 1. Boring plot, good fight. Terrible Japanese stylist. Stealth compared to The Last of Us is 0. Don't recommend. A 10 for The Last of Us Part 2. Only 2 that he reviewed. Sora, 1991. Last of Us Part 2 gets a 10. Ghost of Tsushima gets a 1. Of course, both were on the same day, both reviewed on July 18th. This gets a 1. Not the most greatest game on the planet. This game bored me. Not a good game. And a 10 to The Last of Us Part 2. So you can see here, there's clearly something fishy going on. Where are all the articles? Where are all my articles about the review bombing going on for Ghost of Tsushima? This cannot stand, mainstream games journalists. Why aren't you outraged about this? The bottom line is that people love Ghost of Tsushima. There are people out there that are going to give it negative reviews just to try to prop up or just to try to make comparisons to The Last of Us Part 2. It's very clear with the way people feel about it that there is no comparison between how people feel about this game. People are super split about this. There are a ton of people out there that despise The Last of Us Part 2. Not the same for Ghost of Tsushima, and that is the mark of a great game. You know, when you have this kind of universal feeling about it, you don't have these polarizing things about great games. I'm sorry, that's just the bottom line. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below. I'm excited. I was really happy to see the review score up there. I'm excited to finish playing Ghost of Tsushima so I can leave my review. I don't know exactly what that's going to be yet till I'm done with the game, but I'm having a ton of fun playing it. If you have picked it up, let me know how you feel about it in the comments below. I was someone that was going to skip it until I saw how everyone reacted, and then I said, I can't miss out on this. Let me know in the comments. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I will talk to you later. Thanks for watching, everyone, and a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.